I don't think Tyrod Taylor is coming back. I just think he's got a chronic knee issue, and I think the Jets don't want to go down that road again. I mean, Cooper Rush is still out there. I personally think they need a veteran guy in the room, but I think what they're going to do is they'll let these OTAs play out. They'll see how these guys look in OTAs, and if it doesn't look great, by the time they go to mini camp in the middle of June, then maybe they bring a veteran in by then. But Bailey Zappi and Brady Cook combined career record of 4-9 as a starter. So I think you need to bring in a veteran guy. That's my personal opinion.
I'll tell you the one guy that I wouldn't call, and I'm a fan. Not that they would make this call, but did you see Russell Wilson in the Savannah Bananas uniform over the weekend? Doesn't look like he's ready to come and be a backup anywhere, right? So
was that real? I know he was there, but he looked pretty thick, right? I thought that was edited. I didn't realize that was actually real.
Yeah.
He looked like he was gained a few lbs.
He was spending some time, I guess, with the Jet beat writers, watching the draft with all the food they were serving you guys, Rich.
I can attest to that for sure.
All right, the final two picks the Jets made before we give out an overall grade. And if you're watching live, make sure you like the video and you are subscribed to the channel. This is the Jets Collective. We come at you every week talking all things New York Jets. The Jets, they now had two final picks after they made some trades, of course. And the last two picks the Jets made, we'll do the first one here, the offensive lineman from Miami, the guard, Inez Cooper, second team All-ACC selection this past year. So the Giants took a Miami offensive lineman, Francis Mauigoa, in the top 10, and the Jets get another Miami offensive lineman here in the 6th round. What can you tell us about Cooper, Rich?
Well, the right side of the Hurricane offensive line is playing in New York. So, Cooper is 6'6", 334. He's been a right guard pretty much his entire career. And I thought it was a good value that, on the Scouts Incorporated, they had him at 114 on their list, and the Jets got him at 188. So that's a really good value. They did trade up. They did trade up to get him. He's played a lot of football at Miami, a very high level, obviously. He's a big dude. And like Aaron Glenn said when we were talking to him after the draft, he said, mass kicks ass. So the Jets trying to get bigger in the trenches and more physical. I don't know how well he moves. So if they're going to use a zone scheme, that might be a big adjustment for Cooper. But on the gap runs where it's man-to-man, head to head, he should do well in those situations. I think he'll be Joe Tippmann's backup this year, and he is a self-proclaimed trash talker. So maybe that'll add a little spice to some of the Jet practices.
Yeah, a little nasty in there. You talk about how big Jackson is. I mean, Cooper's got an inch and 25 pounds on him. And you watch and listen, we all watch Miami play, but I mean, am I really studying in real time the interior O-line? Not necessarily, but then you get ready for the draft, you start to dive into your homework. And this guy, he is nasty. He seems like the kind of guy, that'll spit on you, and like when that, not that you want that. I don't really mean spit on you, but you know what I mean. Like that vile, that vile, big, nasty, dirty lineman underneath the scrum. Lord knows what he's grabbing, what he's twisting, what he's tweaking. Like, and you see, I saw a lot of video of him running out of the tunnel at the U, and he exudes nasty and obviously good. So let's give it a shot. See what he's got.
The Jets Collective is presented by PrizePicks. PrizePicks is a daily fantasy app made simple. Just pick more or less on your favorite players' projections and build your lineup in seconds. Download the PrizePicks app today. Use code HMA to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. And PrizePicks is already offering NFL futures, including futures for New York Jets players. Take a look at the lineup that you see on the screen. Garrett Wilson, more than 4.5 reception touchdowns. David Bailey, he's going to have at least 7 sacks his rookie year. Arvell Reese, almost a Jet. I think he'll have at least 3 sacks in his rookie year with the Giants. That is a 3-pick power play, $10 to pay out $60. That is just an example of some of the lineups you can make over at PrizePicks. Make your own lineups today for any sport. Just download the PrizePicks app, use the code HMA, and get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Well, if you want nasty, I mean, Rich, the safety that the Jets took with their final selection, his last name, all I needed to see was that. And I'm like, all right, I
Payne.
like it. I mean, if you're going to be a safety, have the last name Payne. VJ Payne, safety from Kansas State. Dane Brugler had a 4th or 5th round grade on him in the Athletics, the beast that I always check out. So it just feels like they got great value. 6'3", 206 pounds, 4.4 speed. I feel like for a 7th round flyer, right? This guy maybe could help you on special teams right away. And I'm actually fascinated to see what Aaron Glenn and the Jets could do defensively, because I think he's a really versatile player that, for whatever reason, was sitting there in the 7th round.
Yeah, I mean, he ran really well. He's got the height, weight, speed. Our scouts people had him at 124 on their list, and so they get him at 228. So that's a tremendous value. The one knock on him is that, he is such a high cut player, being 6'3". He did miss a bunch of tackles last year. He had 12 missed tackles. So that's a lot. Obviously, the Jets have had issues with missed tackles at their safeties. So they have a really crowded safety room right now. You got Minkah Fitzpatrick. To me, he's the only lock as a starter. And then you have Malachi Moore back. You got Andre Sisco, but he's only on a veteran minimum contract. He's not even guaranteed to make the team. You got Dane Belton from the Giants. And now you have, VJ Payne. So you got 5 safeties there. So I think they've done a good job of creating competition at safety and improving their depth.
He's big, he's strong, he's fast, and he's the 7th round pick. And it's a position where you got to make the room a whole lot better. So
you take a shot.
Yeah, it's really tough to criticize this. You love the fact that Minkah's there. I mean, if Payne's there last year without Minkah, what's he really learning? But just being around a pro like that on the film, on the field, in the film session, and I didn't watch Kansas State a lot this year, but watching some of his highlights, he is a violent guy. I don't know if he's as violent as Victor Green, popping back in the day, but I see a little Vic in him, which is a good thing.
That's a good. If he's that, then that's a good thing for the Jets.
Yep, I think every Jet fan out there will certainly agree. All right, let's give now our overall grades for the Jets draft class. And obviously, look, you never really know with any of these draft classes, but I've been surprised to see the amount of praise the Jets have received from some of the, the biggest draft guys who do this stuff for a living year round. Rich, I'll start with you. What grade would you give Darren Muji, Aaron Glenn, in the 2026 New York Jets draft class?
I am not a big grade guy. I know it's part of the job and we have to do it. And none of us really knows who the heck these guys are going to be. I just kind of look at, are they getting the value that we thought, how they operated throughout the draft. Now, the Jets, here's what I liked about what Muji did. They had 9 picks to go into the draft, and they came out of it with 8 picks. But if you count up the points on the point value chart, they actually came out of it with more draft capital with 8 picks than they had with 9 picks going in. So that tells me he did a good job of maneuvering around the board. He was able to target. He made 4 trades. He was able to target Cooper, actually both Coopers. He went up and got Omar. He got Inez, and then they traded up also for Klubnik. Didn't love that one. We talked about that. But I'm overall, if you make me give a grade, I'm going to give him an A-.
I find that ironic here. Rich is an adjunct professor, but he's averse to giving out grades. I mean, your students must love you. Hey, you did all right. A, F, whatever. You passed. Come on, adult Syracuse had standards up there, Rich. You got to give out those grades, man.
Well, in fact, as soon as we finish this podcast, I'll be reading final exams and grading my students from last night's class.
God bless you.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to project. Like I said, they got 3 guys in the top 24 on the board. So good value. 4 guys right at the top who are going to come in and play a lot as rookies. I mean, that's all you could ask for.
I give him an A. I give him an A here. I'm more okay with the Klubnik pick than you guys. I'm not saying I love it, but it's not enough to bring that down to an A- because everything that they identified and everything that we identified, you got to get more sudden on offense. You got to get more vertical on offense. You got to get more depth in the trenches. You got to find the corner. You got to find the safety. Take a dart, throw a dart on a developmental quarterback. I really, really love what the Jets did. I feel very positive about this. And, I think the dynamic, Jake is known to be a little bit more grumpy or negative or whatever, reluctant to stand things favorably. And maybe I'm a little bit the opposite. But my optimism is really rooted in reality, not delusion. Like Moogie's given us examples, many already. He knows what he's doing. And I think he had a great night. And I think the job, obviously, got to find a quarterback down the road. But the Jets' direction is the trajectory of the needle. It's going in the right direction. There's no doubt.
So I'm actually going to agree with Rich. I'm going to go A- as well. I thought the Jets had a really good draft. Again, I'm not going to, change my opinion drastically just because I didn't like that they traded an extra fourth to get a guy they believe in at the quarterback spot. To me, they did great night one. I think the Omar Cooper trade back in solidified a great night for the New York Jets. The only reason why I wouldn't, I guess, go A+ is or A is just because I was more of an Arvell Reese guy than a David Bailey guy. So I don't want to be disingenuous and be like, oh, I was Bailey the whole time. This is great. But I was fine with both players at the end of the day. And I'm going to steal a line from one of Rich's colleagues, Brian Costello, who's covered the Jets forever for the New York Post. He hates draft grades like Rich does. And he goes, I like to grade on logic. I think if you're grading the Jets on logic, the moves they made, the rationale behind them, I think they had a real plan and they executed said plan. And I am a big fan of what they did ultimately. So I'm going to go A-. I think they needed this. I think the fan base needed something.